For the latest in strategic affairs, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell icon for updates.
This is StratNewsGlobal. I'm Amitabh, Revi. Bharat Shakti, our sister channel, hosted its annual India Defence Conclave 2022 last week, in which I had the pleasure of interviewing the Chief of Naval Staff, Admiral R. Kumar. This is that session in which he first addresses the conclave and then has a Q&A interaction in which we discuss INS Vikrant, Indigenization, the aircraft carrier program, the potential for India to build an aircraft carrier for another country, the LCA Navy, lessons learned from the sinking of the Russian Black Sea flagship Moskva, the effect of the Ukraine war on the Indian Navy, the nuclear powered and nuclear missile technology for submarine programs, and the potential for INFRAS, the so-called India-France-US collaboration, if it ever happens, on nuclear propulsion technology for submarines.
Shri Nitin Gokhale, founder of Bharat Shakti, military and defense attaches, industry leaders, military professionals, flag officers, members from the academia, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I thank Bharat Shakti for inviting me to the Indian Defence Conclave, which is an event which has grown exponentially in stature and impact since its initial days in 2015. I must also convey my appreciation for the aspirational and logical progression of the concave's theme over the years, from enhancing defence capability through cooperation in the initial editions, graduating to enhancing defence exports and indigenization, and now maturing to defence cooperation through collaboration. I think that is the path to the future. While traversing from what I like to call a contested present into an uncertain future, I am convinced that collaboration has to be one of the defining principles for India and the world. And history is replete with examples of successful, high-profile and visible collaborative ventures. However, I will find a basic example from the daily life of a seafarer, which will be quite apt to underscore the essence of collaboration. Moreover, the seas of the world, being a global commons and a shared heritage, they have always fostered a sense of working together. Coming to the example, the most common sight for a maritime practitioner like me while standing watch at sea is the incessant flow of merchant ships carrying the world's cargo and driving growth and prosperity across the globe. So if one were to look at any one of these merchant ships, you will see it flying the flag of one state, owned by a person from some other state, insured in a third state, carrying cargo from one to one or more other states, bound for yet many other states, and interestingly manned by personnel from a host of different countries once again. So to my mind, this coming together of disparate entities in a collaborative manner, albeit inadvertently and unplanned, has facilitated global commerce, growth and prosperity since ages, harnessing the ubiquity and ease of reach of the oceans. So when it comes to the present day security paradigm, contemporary challenges too are similarly characterized by ubiquity and invasive reach, and moreover they have transcended traditional domains to now straddle a complex web of state, non-state and private actors, as well as diverse technologies, capabilities and various areas of competition and contestation, making defense of our respective national interests equally complex. So this is also underscored by our Honorable Prime Minister of India, who said, and I quote, "Earlier we used to imagine our defense only till our land, sea and sky. Now the circle is moving towards space, cyberspace, economic and social space." Unquote. Suffice to say that the overall threat spectrum has evolved significantly. And to my mind, in order to defend this rather complicated security paradigm, there are two important imperatives. Internally, national security enterprise must necessarily have to be a not just a whole of nation approach, but a whole of society approach, including contributions from the Indian defense industry. And externally, like-minded nations must strengthen cooperation and collaborate where feasible to improve respective capacities and capabilities. So when I look at these two imperatives and at the audience today, synergies become apparent. On one hand, the Indian defense industry has set itself on an aspirational trajectory, I would say, to expand its range of defense solutions and products, as well as seek potential partners for both development and delivery. On the other hand, our friends from foreign countries are exploring many possible avenues to further enhance security quotient of their respective nations through identifying suitable partners and products. And this conclave provides an apt setting to do just that. So when it comes to cooperation and collaboration, trust and assurance become the central pillars on which the rest of the venture stands. And I'm sure the defense attaches present here would agree with me when I say that we do enjoy a fair bit of it. Our approach as a nation towards interacting with the world has been underpinned by the 5 S's. That is, Samman or respect, Samvad or dialogue, Sahyog or cooperation, Shanti or peace, and Samriddhi or prosperity. So this has resonated with our friends in the region. So as a consequence, our nation, our actions as a nation and as the armed force have always been to join hands wherever we can in a collective pursuit of security and stability for mutual growth and prosperity. So you could look at the COVID response, for instance. You would have witnessed India's extensive outreach to the region in terms of vaccines, medicines, protective equipment, trained personnel, and so on. And equally, our friends in the region too, they reciprocated by sharing their resources, such as liquid oxygen, oxygen cylinders, etc., when we needed them the most. And I would say that these are enduring examples of trust, respect, and assurance. And as far as the Navy is concerned, and as most of you may be aware, we are already cooperating and collaborating extensively with our friends and partners at sea, and we look forward to enhancing this further in our pursuit of promoting free, open, inclusive, and rules-based order in the oceans. However, such inclusive efforts can only be possible if there is requisite capacity and capability, including in the defense sector. And in this context, the defense manufacturing ecosystem in India plays a pivotal role, and India's domestic defense production is rising phenomenally, catalyzed by the ongoing team effort comprising public, private sector entities, academia, and innovators. So there is abundant enthusiasm, eagerness, and energy that is propelling India's defense manufacturing sector forward. We would have heard all this in the session we just concluded. While this has a positive impact on military preparedness of the armed forces, it also has positive connotations for the region as a whole. So there are two aspects to it. As I briefly mentioned earlier, a significant amount of the capacities and capabilities that we accrue will be dedicated towards cooperative and inclusive endeavors which promote security and stability in the region. Secondly, the cutting-edge defense products that our industry produces may find applicability and use for our friends in the region. So it is here that the factors of trust, respect, and assurance will come into play. And I am sure many of you will find a reliable partner in the Indian defense industry. So there is immense potential, and I urge all the participants to explore every avenue, to join hands, to collaborate as we continue to enhance our defense cooperation. So on that note, I will conclude, and I am sure the day's proceedings must have been fruitful for you. So thank you, and I'm willing to take on some questions.
Admiral, I was just looking back in time before this session this morning, and look back to, if I remember the date correctly, 12th August 2013. Nitin Gokhale was our defense editor in NDTV then. I was in NDTV as well. And he had sent me to cover the launch of INS Vikrant. I think Captain DKS was also with us at that time. I mean, in terms of indigenization, as you say, Bravo Zulu, capabilities, capacities, but just wondered your views, sir, in terms of the comparison and how breakneck speed that China has been developing its fleet, not just its aircraft carriers. In that light, how would you see the Indian Navy?
See, we should not get into a comparison with anybody. We should see what is our national interest and whether we have the assets to meet those national interests. The role of the Navy is to protect, preserve, and promote our national interests in the maritime domain. So we have embarked on this indigenization drive since 1961 when INS Ajay, or the first small patrol boat, was indigenously made in India. And since then, we have progressed a long way. We have built corvettes, frigates, destroyers, and now landing craft, biggers, tankers, and now we've made the aircraft carrier. I don't know whether you had a chance to go on board and see the ship, but I would rate the quality of workmanship, the quality of the ship, with the final product to be world class. Kudos to Cochin Shipyard Limited and all the industry partners. There are more than 944 Indian industries who are involved. About 144 Indian OEMs who are involved. There was about 94 MSMEs who are involved, and over 2,000 Cochin Shipyard personnel and about 13,000 plus personnel from the various other ancillary units. So it's a great achievement, and today we can count on our fingertips the number of countries which can make aircraft carriers. So therefore, we have arrived there in shipbuilding, and we need to strengthen this and take it forward.
Absolutely. As I think VSN has mentioned, 76% indigenization in the aircraft carrier. What is the decision-making progress in terms of the aircraft on board? I mean, we hear a lot about it. Why I'm asking you this is I have one foot in StratNewsGlobal as well. So
we, as far as the aircraft are concerned, I just want to tell you first that as a Navy, I have given a commitment to our Honorable Prime Minister that 2047 we will have a completely indigenous Navy, whether it be ships, submarine, aircraft, unmanned systems, or weapons, the entire complex. So that is what we are targeting. 2047 is the time we have set for ourselves to say that we will be completely atmanirbhar Navy. So we are going to work towards that. Having said that, as of now, you're aware of the LC Navy project. The LC Navy will be doing trials on board. But that is actually the step towards the TED-BF, that is the twin-engine deck-based fighter. So we are aggressively pushing for that. The basic QRs have already been put in place, and now we need to take it to get it processed to the CCS for getting the approvals. So that is what we are looking at. As of now, it will be the MiG-29 case which we operate, which will fly from this deck, and which will provide the aircraft for operations. At the same time, we feel there may be a gap because MiG-29 case, there is not much availability anymore. So we are looking at as a stopgap solution. So towards which we have had some trials done by both Rafale as well as F-18. We are still awaiting the evaluation report. So once it comes, then we'll take a call and we'll see what is. But our final destination is the twin-engine deck-based fighter, for which we are going to, spare no effort to make sure that it meets the timelines and comes out by 2026, at least the prototype, and then the production.
You mentioned 2047, Admiral, in terms of your goals and what you're targeting. In terms of the debate over a third aircraft carrier, what are your thoughts on when you're looking forward? Are we even looking at nuclear propulsion? Are we looking at different technologies in terms of catapults on aircraft carriers? Or do you take off from where we are at this moment if we look forward to another aircraft carrier?
I don't want to, say discuss whether we need 3 aircraft carrier, 4 aircraft carrier, 5 aircraft carrier, etc., because that is actually not the real issue of relevance. The issue is we need to have 2 aircraft carriers operational. So, so right now the second aircraft carrier, Vikrant has just got commissioned. We want to get her operational, get her ready, and then we will examine the further requirements. This is a time also when substantial progress has been made in terms of unmanned aircraft, UCAVs, etc. And this is gained a fair amount of momentum even in our country. You're aware of the various defense partners, private industry who are working on this. So, will it help to go for a manned-unmanned teaming with the existing carriers, or what is the type of carriers that you are looking at? What are the type of ships that you are looking at? So this is still under discussion. We have not yet made up our mind. We have not moved any case, etc. So this is also linked to the ICATS process, which is underway for the last about almost a year and a half, and which may come to fruition in another 8 months or 1 year's time. So it's a ongoing planning process that is happening, and once that happens, then we will decide whether we need to go for a larger one or the repeat order, or whether we need at all. But there is a thought process that whatever capability that has been built up in Cochin Shipyard, we should try and consolidate on it. So there are also options for the Cochin Shipyard to build an aircraft carrier for other countries, or sell it. So these are the various options that are available.
In terms of options, Admiral, just when you're talking about aircraft carriers or vessels of any sorts, what are the lessons that are learned, say, for example, from what happened with the Russian flagship, Moskva, the Black Sea flagship, when it was targeted? What are the lessons that the Indian Navy learns from that kind of warfare?
About the Russia-Ukraine conflict, I think the Prime Minister was very candid in his discussion with the Russian president. So he had said that this is not an era for war. So that, keeping that aside, what I find that, as Thucydides had said in, I think, 340 BC, that nations go to war over only 3 things. That is fear, honor, interest. So I think that is fairly relevant today also. Nothing has changed in that respect. But there is much to see from the special military operations undertaken by Russia. We have seen new technologies being used, drones, cyber, space, all sorts of precision ammunition, all that is being used. We see the importance of supply chains. We see the requirement for atmanirbhar, to ensure that you have your own equipment which is available to you to, provide to your military and to defend your country. We see the effect of blockade, the food grain shortage that has been created, the interdependencies, worldwide created by the global supply chain, the impact of social media, and this we see differing narratives from both sides, and the influence, or I would say the weaponization of the cognitive domain, by which the minds are getting, sort of influenced. So there is much to learn from this conflict, as in any conflict, I would say. And as a Navy, as a military, we are seized of it. And what is evident is what Clausewitz had said, that the character of war keeps changing. It's like a chameleon. And however, its nature remains permanent, brutal and the type of effect that it brings in.
Admiral, when you're talking about supply chains, again, when you talk Soviet Union, Russia, Ukraine, gas turbines, the supply chains, how affected by the conflict is the Indian Navy?
We are not really hard-pressed as of now. We have adequate stocks of spares. So there has been no let-up in our deployment of ships or aircraft today. We have taken steps to get help from our own industry. You may be aware that in a ship there are three components in shipbuilding. That is the float, to move, and to fight component. So in the float component we are almost 100%. That means the steel we make, almost everything that is there in the ship, in the basic hull, is almost 100%. I would say maybe 98 or 95%. In terms of move, we are around 65 to 70%, and that is where the main propulsion, whether it's gas turbines, diesel engines, or the gas turbine generators. So these we have been importing from both from the west as well as from the east. We have now taken a decision that we will make it in India. So it might take maybe 4 years, 5 years, but all out efforts are on to make it. Whatever spares are required for this, either we get from abroad or we'll try and make it in India. So this is the effort that has been focused. Efforts are being put in our being pursued, and we are quite confident that we will achieve results in that. The third component is, of course, the fight component, where we are only around 50% as of now. But the progress is rapid. Ammunition, we have just indigenized in many of the calibers. Weapons also, now we find great support from the industry. So we are quite confident that maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the line, we will have our own, a good component of, good percentage of it will be manufactured in India itself.
The SSBN program, Admiral, is that on track? How does transfer of technology affect it? How does it sit with the Make in India program?
I don't want to comment on this.
Whatever
now.
you can publicly.
Yeah. But I can assure you that it is completely indigenous, and it's going well.
And we have a parallel lease program as well. Does that give us leeway to develop indigenous SSN?
There is no lease program for the
SSN.
No, there is no. We had earlier taken SSN on lease. So now that lease is over. So now we are, pursuing a possibility.
My last question, Admiral, would be: we spoke on StratNewsGlobal recently to Dr. Ashley Tellis, who had put out a project report, which he calls INFRAS, which is again to do with nuclear propulsion, submarine technology. He was suggesting that India needs to diversify away from Russia to, say, a France and US model. Is that something that has been looked at as well?
There has been no offers from any of these other countries. We do have very close cooperation with Russia. We do have very close cooperation with France. But there have been no specific offers that I'm aware of.
Admiral, thank you for being so candid as you can publicly.